Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new live episode of He Said, He Said, He Said. A look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. Thank you all for being here tonight. And what special night it is. First of all, it is the first week of fall. It is now fall, ladies and gentlemen. This week was kind of tricky because it was rainy and cold some days, and then today was just absolutely gorgeous here in Washington, D.C. But happy fall to all of you all. And for those of you who did not know, we are here once again standing in the shadows of another government shutdown looming over our heads. Federal workers, I just want you to know, I see you, I hear you, and I need you to remember this. It sounds like a cliche, but hold on, because trouble don't last all day. Can I get an amen up in here, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, this is crazy. We don't need a government shutdown, but again, hold on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is special. It is the season 4 finale for He Said, He Said, He Said. And what a season it has been. As many of you know, we lost Bosh Bodie in January to suicide. And for those of you who don't know and new to the show, I gave birth to this show with Bosh. And his death was very hard this year as we moved through season 4. Yet because of the love he had for He Said, He Said, He Said, and all that he poured into me to make this show work, I just became even more energized to keep the idea alive. So from one day, from day one, all of you have allowed us to show up every Friday night and bring you a platform that matters. Through Let's Get Newsy, we broke down the top stories in entertainment, social media, culture, and fashion. You also welcomed our We See You segment, where we celebrated Black-owned and operated businesses making real impact in the communities. But that wasn't all, ladies and gentlemen. You also allowed us to share our Manage Your Health series, where we focused on your well-being, your physical health, your mental balance. And you let us lean into the tough but important conversations in our Managing Your Finance series, where we talked about building financial wealth, planning for the future, creating wills, and securing your estate. And we are so grateful that you received those resources with open hearts, because they were brought to you with purpose and love. And of course, we never forget to bring the humor, the fashion, the laughs, the fashion critiques, and the joy that makes He Said, He Said, He Said what it is. Week after week, we show up, and we are deeply thankful for every single one of you viewers who supported us all season long. When I started, this journey, though, 4 years ago, it was just an idea. I had no idea that much of it would resonate with you. But because of you, this has become so much more than just a show. It has become my passion. Your support has driven me to want to do better, to bring you the most incredible conversations and stories that I can create. And you made that possible. You stuck with me, Bobby and Sean, all year. You've shared your opinions. You offered your critiques, and they all mean so much to all of us. So as we close out season 4, just know that I can close on a high note, because you have elevated me, you've elevated us to this particular level. And tonight, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for trusting us and your support, because without you, there is no us. And as we head into season 5, get ready, you guys. We're taking He Said, He Said, He Said even higher. So expect new stories, expect new faces, expect new voices from people around the globe who are changing the world for the better. This isn't the end. It's a season finale, but it's just the beginning. From all of us here at He Said, He Said, He Said Live, I want to thank you for riding with us and just being here with us. And I wanted to get that out of the way early, because We got a fun show for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to get newsy with you. And if you are ready, let's get on with the chat. Gentlemen.
Good afternoon, good evening, buenas noches, wherever you are in the world or what part of the country.
Hi, Sean. Hey, Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
Happy. I know it's not our anniversary.
There you go. I'm now muted. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. It's been a great day and a good week, and I'm just glad to be here. Season 4 was just, guys, for those of viewers, if you don't know, they know, but we knocked out 50 shows every Friday. You guys showed up every Friday for 50 episodes, and you hung with us, and that's an incredible feat for 3 of us who have other lives. You know what I mean?
It is. That was a great intro also. Thank you for kind of summarizing and reflecting back on some of the new episodes and segments and just the ways that our viewers have chimed in and supported us through the thick and the thin, and certainly in remembrance of our brother Vosh as well. So thank you for that introduction of really summarizing, and sharing, as only you can do as the founder, the true essence of what he said is all about.
And I have to reiterate everything that Bobby has said, and I'm still humbled and honored to be a part of this. So Alvin, again, I'm without words. So you are definitely a good man.
Thank you all. Plus, y'all got the shiniest heads in Washington, D.C. And I just absolutely love it. I do. I absolutely love it. Can we say hello to some of our viewers who came on to help us with our finale show? Let me see. Michelle Bowie, thank you for being here tonight. Monica Pleasant is here. Rose is here tonight. My brother Mark Brown is here tonight. And Stephanie, Mark and Stephanie, thank you all for being here. And you all don't know this, but Mark and Stephanie will be celebrating 40 years of marriage by the time we come back from our hiatus in December. So 40 years in Jesus.
And what a beautiful couple they are. So
yes, Jesus. And Dr. Toole, thank you for your note. Dr. Toole sent a text a DM to he said to say that she hopes that we come back for season 5. We're coming back. Thank you, Dr. Tools. I appreciate you. And oh my goodness, Michelle Sims is here. Thank you for being here, my sister. Thank you guys. Thank you. Whoa. Okay, so like I said, we have a fun show, and viewers, we got some stories that you all we need you all to weigh in on. Well, we know your opinion. You're going to say something anyway. But anyway, what is going on with you all? What is going on with you guys in the chat tonight?
Ooh, okay.
Yes. Well, let me start this off for everyone. So, we briefly talked about the DC representative to Congress, Eleanor Holmes Norton, and that she has decided to run again. It's not official, but she basically said that she's going to run again. Now, mind, she's 88 years old. But since then, one of the DC at-large council members, Robert White, has decided to get into the race. Robert White used to work for Miss Norton as a legislative aide. And so now he's jumping into the race. But guess what? He is not alone. He's running against an activist by the name of Kimel Freeman. He's also going to be up against Jackie Patterson, who is also pretty well known here in DC. She's the Democratic chair of Ward 3. You're also going to have Deidre Brown. She is an attorney here in DC. And you have this guy named Gordon Chaffin. He's a dog walker. So the field is getting large of those who will be running to take on Eleanor Holmes Norton in this very important seat, this only seat that represents DC to Congress. Now, I've said this. I think that in 2026, for DC, the election is going to be very, very messy. You see so much chaos when it comes to elections, whether it be mayor or on the council. Now, I would want to give you guys full disclosure. I do consider Robert White a friend. I've campaigned for him and help him with other things. But I'm not saying this to say that I'm giving all my support to him or endorsing him or anyone else. But I think it's very, very important that people really look at this race, because Robert White was going to run for mayor. And that has some people thinking, well, what happened? So this is what Robert White told the Washington Informer when he was interviewed about his decision to run for Congress versus running for mayor. He told the Washington Informer this: "We've had the military turn on us, people being snatched in our cities, and our constant threats about the federal government taking over DC," White said to the Informer. "And I realized that if we can't turn the tide on the federal level, we won't even have a mayor or a council much longer. So that's where the fight is right now," which means that that's where I have to go. So he believes that because of all what happened over the last 2 months in Washington, D.C., with the federal task force, with the threats coming from the White House, he believes that the fight for him is now in Congress versus being mayor of the city or running for mayor of the city. What do you guys think?
Well, go ahead, Bobby. I'm sorry.
Well, I was first going to say, we've had the pleasure of having Robert White as a guest on He Said, and he's a very, very impressive candidate and representative. Full disclosure, I know Robert White as well because his father and I actually graduated. We attended high school together, and we graduated from high school together. So I've known Robert White since he was literally this big. But he is an impressive young man. On all accounts. But I do agree with you, as a native Washingtonian, people did very much see him as a potential front runner for the mayor's position. And this change really shifted the landscape significantly. And as you said, this is DC and politics is DC, and it's going to be an interesting race.
Yes.
Well, I do see Dr. Toole's comment here in that it's so important that DC becomes a state with representation in Congress. True, that fight should never end, Dr. Toole. I've been here 65 years, and I know I've been here over 65 years, and I'm looking forward to that happening. But my question to the viewers, especially the ones who live in the DC area and know Eleanor Holmes Norton, who is so beloved. When you think of a candidate to replace her, what's most important to you? Is it the fresh ideas that someone new can bring in, the proven effectiveness, the energy, the visibility, or is it something else? If you all can click in the comments, if you can, what are you kind of looking for real quick in those areas? And do you even believe that Robert White brings any of those to the table? I'm just going to go on record and say, I think he does. I think he's very dynamic.
Really committed. He do.
I'm sorry. Look, I went back to my Brentwood Village moment just now. I did. I think he's a viable candidate, and I think he would do well. And the whole aspect of him not running for mayor, based on what you shared with us, Sean, that's just a new light. Thank you.
But also keep in mind that, the delegate to Congress does not get a vote in Congress. Okay, so the role is basically more of a role as a lobbyist, because basically what this person will be doing is lobbying their colleagues on things like home rule and statehood for Washington, D.C. And we do need someone who is very articulate, someone who can really speak to the importance of home rule and the importance of being a state. Okay, and Robert White, he can certainly do that. And I'm not discounting the other individuals as well, because you have an attorney in there, you have someone who works on the DC State Board of Education. So there are some other qualified candidates. So we do have to think about that. DC is made up of 8 wards, and we all know that Ward 8 is nothing like wards 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you got to win all 8 wards, and we need someone who can bring all the wards together. And I hope that the best candidate wins, because we need it.
Well, keep your eyes on DC, ladies and gentlemen, because we have an election coming. Okay. Yes. And thank you, Mark. Mark Brown said we're ready for new leadership, and it is time. I agree with that. Monica Pleasant said, what did Miss Norton accomplish? Just one example. Monica, I'm going to tell you that she did a lot, Monica, and I'm not Monica. She did, Monica. And that's all I'm going to say there. about Eleanor Holmes Norton.
But she can also say, "What have you done for me lately?"
Okay. Well, we're gonna move on. Okay. We're gonna move on. Oh, hold on. Bobby, excuse me 1 second. The big cheese is back. The big cheese, you made an impression on me because when you say stuff, I do have to acknowledge it. Okay. The Black Washington, D.C. political leaders, both Democrats and Republicans, are useless. Okay, well, tell us how you really feel. For the Black community, including the NAACP, was that Boulay, and the Urban League. And he rolled his and the big cheese rolled their eyes. Thank you, big cheese, for that. Thank you for your POV. Thank you.
All right.
Nothing like knowing how a person feels. So I'm going to raise, as we move on with our Let's Get Newsy episode tonight, something that will make you go, and make you really wonder, have people really crossed that line? I'm talking about the most recent visit at Tennessee State University by a MAGA group known as the Fearless Debaters, and they were removed from Tennessee State University's campus. The group appeared on Tennessee State University's campus in Make America Great Again hats and signs that read the DEI should be illegal, and that all illegals should be illegal, and deport all illegals now. That was what the other sign said. And, this is really interesting because they were saying that they were there. This was a part of the first stop on their HBCU tour, known as their Fearless Tour, which aims to, according to them, bring honest conversation and open debate back to America's college campuses, and was inspired by none other than Charlie Kirk. Now, as you look at some of the images here, what you see are, and these gentlemen were eventually removed from campus by security, but they were ushered off along with a lot of TSU students who made it very, very clear that they were not welcome on their campus. And to bring the whole notion of them placing themselves on this campus under the guise of wanting to have an honest and civil debate around the notion of you're going to sit on this campus, an HBCU campus, and say DEI initiatives should be illegal, and that people should be deported, really says to me that you did not come with that, what your stated purpose was. Your presence was to evoke and to create chaos. And I'm really, really pleased that ultimately the security of TSU and those students were able to get them off without incident. Now, you will notice, you saw some images there. Part of what they were also doing there is filming the way that people were responding with them. Even when somebody just kind of like hit the car as they were leaving with a book or something like that, they were like, look at them, they're attacking us and they're hitting us with the, so they were really trying to stoke a whole lot of confusion and really be able to capture it to be able to justify some of the things that some of the initiatives they were reporting. But finally, I just want to say, as a graduate of an HBCU institution and Howard University to be that the one, in fact, this is what I'll say to you. They need to choose wisely where they show up.
Now I'm going to say now and I know my brother Bobby and my brother Sean. We don't offer threats. That wasn't a threat. No. That was advice.
That was clear advice that you need to choose because not every school is going to respond as kindly as TSU did in terms of them sitting on their campus trying to say that initiatives and opportunities that have been provided for them as a result of who they are in response to the injustices of our society is illegal. They were trying to get people riled up and cause hysteria that they could put on film and then utilize in another way. But
correct, Bobby, you were very articulate and correct on all that you had said there. But here's the thing. Like you said, these guys weren't about debating, and neither was Charlie Kirk. No. They are all about, like you said, basically clickbait, trying to create some kind of trend, if you will. Mm-hmm. And if they truly were about debating, okay, why, with all of these young white boys, lowercase BOYS, why are all these boys targeting Black people? Okay, if you're going to debate something on DEI, you need to start with white women because that's who receive the most benefits from DEI. if you want to talk about affirmative action, start with white women, because that's who benefit the most from affirmative action. So they don't come to the table with anything honest to debate about because they don't know the facts. They don't know who's benefiting from what. Okay. And so I'll leave it at that. But these guys are not about debating. They are all about trying to create something, like you said, Bobby, just for clicks or views, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not about the facts. Nothing that this administration, and we've seen that for years since 2016. Everything is just, lie after lie after lie after lie, and they rely on triggers. If they, you know what I'm saying? So, they coming onto that campus was nothing but a trigger. Mm-hmm. It was all a trigger. The Big Cheese says, I think he said, the Black Gen Zs are the codified Black leaders who are about that business. They are not the old civil rights dinosaurs who get nothing done for the Black community, who get nothing done for the Black community. Amen. And Bobby, you're getting praised for your commentary. So thank you for that. There's a lot that I could say on that. I'm not going to say on that because at the end of the day, I think we're all thinking alike. And it's one of those situations where we can go to the cliff, but we can't jump. You know what I'm saying? Because, but.
Well, I would just say very quickly in closing that people need to recognize and realize that any people that you push to a certain degree will eventually respond. In the sense that there are a lot of things happening to marginalized communities, and in particular Black and Brown communities right now, where things are happening, things are being said, programs are being eliminated, et cetera, et cetera. And there is this expectation that it only becomes an issue when we respond and not when the issue is actually happening. Right. But even the most docile person gets to a point where you've got to say, you need to back up.
Yeah. I don't think they're coming to Howard though, but if you do, I hope I'm in DC that day. I really do. Well, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Sean. I want to bring up something that happened this week that has me like on the fence. I want to talk about, for those of you who are familiar with the show The Bear writer Alex O'Keefe was handcuffed on a train after an old white woman complained about how he was sitting. Now, this is how the news is reported by the police. An ex-writer for The Bear got too comfortable on a New York City train, and he was removed in handcuffs after a complaint came from a elderly white woman who was sitting across from him. Even in his, report about what happened, he said he had his feet up on the chair and that he had done nothing wrong. And when I thought about that, I didn't want to get caught up in the whole aspect of, play the race card that a white woman, called him out for having his feet up on a seat, occupying a seat where somebody could have sat. I didn't want to get caught up in that. Even the fact that he was handcuffed, I didn't want to get so caught up in that before I thought, why were you having your feet up on that? Why was your feet up on the chair first on a full train? And if there was an elderly Black woman sitting across from you who said, my man, would you please move your feet off the chair? Would you have done it? But then would the Black woman call the police? It was so much going on in this story that I wanted to bring it here so we could talk about it a bit. Because it wasn't so much that, and he was not arrested. He was just taken off of the train. He was not charged. But the fact, we've all been on public transportation when people got their bags sitting on a seat when you want to sit down, or their feet up on something, or even on a plane. Mm-hmm. So why do you do it? How you guys feel about this story?
Bobby?
We got a few minutes.
There are a lot of variables here. You did answer one thing that was in my head. Like, was the train full? Like, and did this woman have a seat already? And was she just giving commentary, or did she not have a seat and she needed a seat and she asked him to sit there and he didn't move?
No, we had a picture. I think we had a picture of if I
could be seated though. And
back up. She was seated across from him.
So it begs the question as to, like, she's seated.
Yeah.
So what was her issue? Like, I agree with you. The thought of, it's one of the reasons I struggle with public transportation in general, because people put a whole lot of things on seats. But I was raised in a house also, you didn't put your feet on places where people have to sit, first and foremost. So that's my first issue. What is he sitting there as a grown man with his feet up on the chair? But, so it starts there. I don't know. There's so many variables here and sensitivities around race and so forth. And would he have done it if she was a woman of color? Would the police have been called if it wasn't? Like, it's a lot. But for me, it all starts with the fact that you're a grown behind man. I was going to say something else, and your feet shouldn't be up on the.
I'm not advocating. I'm not advocating arrest all black men after getting a phone call from a white woman. I'm not advocating that. What I'm saying is, dude, put your.
Yeah, I think there was more to it. When I first saw the clip, at first I was a bit enraged, and then I took a moment and looked at it and tried to analyze it. And one of the things that came to my mind first was she's wearing a face mask. Okay, so I think people today who continue to wear face masks, when I see them, I'm thinking maybe they're going to the doctor, or maybe they're getting treatment for something. People don't realize that people go through chemotherapy, for example, and they wear a mask, but you would never know that person might have some kind of ailment. And I wouldn't want anyone sitting next to my mother or grandmother with bacteria that's on the bottom of their shoes, percolating from their shoes into the air, if you will. Now, that's exaggerating, of course, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. So I don't think that this woman was purposely looking at race, because I have an older friend. She's white. She's older. And it is her nature. And I told her once, I said, Barb, next time when you see that, don't say anything, because I don't want you to get hurt. Because
what's her nature?
She is one of the people, she's from the Midwest, and she's like always trying to say, that's not proper. You should probably not stand on top of the table like that. She doesn't mean anything by it. It's not about race. She's just thinking that, respect the establishment where you are. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this woman looks so timid. I don't think that she was trying to do anything that was going to harm this man. She probably thought that, he's not following protocol or the norm when it comes to riding public transportation.
Okay. Well, first, Mark Brown said that the police should not have been called. I agree there. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
And he also said racism doesn't have an age.
It doesn't. But we don't know. We don't.
We don't know.
Risk me a lot about this woman, and she hasn't said anything to the media, to my knowledge. So why assume anything about her? We don't know anything about her health. We don't know where she was going. We don't know who she was with. We don't know anything, and we're going to jump immediately to racism.
Well, that's what he did, and so I just wanted to open it up that I didn't necessarily see it as racism. Let me go on record. I'm not seeing it as it. Right now, there's so many things that went on into this. It could have been racism. It could have been, the fact that it could have been all those things. It could have been that the police overreacted. It could have been that he was rude and didn't take his feet off of the, just put your feet on the ground and show some manners. So much was going on in this. I just wanted to talk about it. So, thank you all for weighing in on this, because we got some hot topics that we want to talk to you about. But thank you all for indulging. And Dr. Tools said something. The mask also made me think. I didn't see. The mask almost made me think she was concerned about her health. Of course, AI think the police was an escalation that wasn't necessary, but we don't know the details. We don't. I'm just glad nobody was.
But we do know one thing, that statistics have proven when the police are engaged with people of color, the response is often escalated and different and heightened. And so while we don't know all the details of it, one of the things we know is we as people of color, as men of color in particular, as Black men, not just men of color, we think twice before we call the police on somebody that looks like us, because we know it's not likely just going to be a conversation and a de-escalation of this. It often gets heightened as a result of that exchange.
Well, I'm going to say to Bobby, ladies and gentlemen, if you follow me on social media, I've been holding something in. I'm going to post something. I will damn sure call the police on you. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you look like. If you violate me, y'all follow me on social media. Okay?
I'm not suggesting that you wouldn't. I'm just
okay. Look,
you know what the response is likely to be, is what I'm saying.
And Michi says she is 71 years old, and I would have looked at him with a side eye.
Yes, you would have.
Amen. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready. We got some hot topics for you guys tonight, and I want to kick it off by just in our top stories. First, by talking about what everyone has been talking about all week, and that is Jimmy Kimmel is back. You know, after being shut down by Disney and ABC, Kimmel returned to the airways last Tuesday, and he came back big. Jimmy Kimmel Live pulled in 6.26 million total viewers, the show's largest audience in more than a decade, despite being preempted in nearly a quarter of U.S. households. That's no small feat, you guys. So here's the question for you, for the viewers and for you guys here. Do you think this comeback says more about Jimmy Kimmel's staying power, or just how much audiences are craving late night television for what has happened?
I think that I don't think it's any of that.
Okay.
I think that corporate media is dying. It really is. People are moving to YouTube. And what Trump did was gave it a little bit more life for a moment when he tried to take down Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, but the truth of the matter is that eventually it's going to go away, because mainstream media, ABC, NBC, I'm sorry, folks, but it's not the future when it comes to television. Okay.
Sean, I'm going to say Dr. Toole is taking something out of my mouth. I think it spoke to the $6 billion Disney lost, and those two. What is it? I can't think of the two companies that didn't allow it to be shown. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me on regular TV, or they pulled it from some of the markets. However, tonight they've had an awakening, because he will be shown on all the markets starting tonight. And I think money had everything to do with it. Also, with this president that we have in here, not to desensitize your comment about, late night TV leaving and it's moving to, social media, what have you. I think that money played a huge part in here when Donald Trump didn't want a vessel or a vehicle for people to call him out the way that they do. And so I'm glad he did that, because now it's going to make it harder for them to shut stuff down for a minute. So that's my take on that. So I know Bobby had a comment.
Well, first of all, I think time will tell. I think you both raised some very interesting issues, and time will obviously tell. There's no question that the advent of social media has changed a lot of how we process and get information and who reports it. They just did this extraordinary special on Barbara Walters last night that was talking about her groundbreaking career and so forth. But they were talking about just the whole notion of people being interviewed in the way that she once did is in many instances passé now, because people can just interview them. They just go right on and tell you what they want you to know. So there's always evolution. But for me, there was another question. I think I was just thinking about it from a slightly different perspective. And it's the question of, does the outcry about overreach around free speech and journalistic freedoms ring hollow for some? And the reason I'm asking that question is there have been discussions about whether or not the urgency around the to protest free speech reach crisis level only when it happens to be a white cisgender man who is silenced. And what raises that question is the cancellation for various reasons of voices, very strong voices, including folks like Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross, Melissa Harris Perry, Janelle Hill, Don Lemon, Mark Lamont Hill, and most recently, the Post's last full-time African-American columnist, Karen Attiah. Mm-hmm. There have been a lot of cancellation of Black voices, journalists, who often tackle some very hard issues. And the question is, where was the outcry around some of these cancellations? They've dealt with sensitive issues such as voter suppression, white supremacy, mass incarceration, Black mortality rates. So the question is, are these decisions more about business or silencing? Because these decisions, in the cases of these journalists, actually has a bit more to do than just an issue of employment. They're about stripping away rare spaces, and they're becoming more and more rare, where issues of race, democracy, equality, inequality, and justice are tackled head on and with a Black perspective in some of these major mediums that we're talking about, major corporations we're talking about. So each firing, in many ways, in these spheres, narrows the range of perspectives and leaves behind, for many, a thinner, safer, and ultimately white media.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Amen. What Bobby said, what he said. Amen.
So it's just perspective. It's just a question that I'm raising. Sean, you look like you're thinking about something. You might do, but I just wanted to raise the question as to really acknowledging and understanding when these voices are silenced in these ways, they have a slightly different impact. There is that belief in saying that if America catches a cold, Black America catches pneumonia. Mm-hmm. These things have a deeper impact and significance on the platforms for us to be able to share our perspective.
It's a very important question, and people have to keep in mind that we don't have very many traditional news organizations anymore that are Black owned. And DC just has the Washington Informer. Thank God that Denise Barnes is still running that, as her father did. But I think it's an important question. But I also will say this to the audience, to everyone who's listening out there, everyone who's watching this podcast, this YouTube channel. You have to support Black journalists, because I'm telling you, as I was in the newsroom when I was the only Black reporter in the newsroom, and our voices are silenced. They've been silenced for years. Okay, it's just that now that it's been more exposed. So support your Black journalists, because I'm telling you, it's real. The voices are being taken away, being silenced.
That is a great comment. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. All right, guys. Oh, okay.
We're getting newsy tonight.
Very newsy. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So the next story is something that we've all heard about, and this is regarding, again, the White House, the Trump administration, and Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., and the announcement that autism might be linked to acetaminophen, which is an ingredient that is very common in Tylenol. Now, this is something that they are saying that pregnant women should not be taken. Pregnant women should not be taking anything with acetaminophen, but your president kept mentioning Tylenol, kept targeting that particular company as the company that basically that's the only place you can get this particular ingredient. So I don't know. Let me just read this here. It says, okay. It said, Trump and RFK Jr. make autism announcement as Tylenol maker and medical experts push back. President Trump announced the Food and the Drug Administration believes the use of acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, and many other flu and medications during pregnancy can cause associated with the increased risk of autism, though medical experts have said the medication is safe. Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So I'll leave it at that. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? I mean, I know that none of us have ever been pregnant.
Good for yourself.
Okay, you know what? My first thought on that, and anything that orange man has anything to do with, who would believe someone who told you? Would you believe anyone who told you in 2020 that if you drink bleach, that you could get COVID would leave your body? Why would you? He can't even pronounce
the word,
the drug associated that's within Tylenol. He cannot. So that alone should make you cut your damn TV off when he's on camera. It is ridiculous. And what is that? RFK? That Kennedy guy. Yeah. That's what I'm calling him now. That Kennedy guy. If stupid was a drug,
oh wow,
he has overdosed.
Oh Lord.
Well, he was a drug user.
Well, all I can say is the president got his medical degree, and that's right, he never got a medical degree.
That part.
Okay, someone once said, if you go to a circus, expect clowns, and that's what I'm going to say. Like that, the whole notion that either one of them are actually offering national medical advice,
stupid
to women at that. Again, this is an extension of them trying to tell women what to do with their bodies. They try to do it with abortion, and now they're trying to do it when it comes to women in their pregnancies.
It just doesn't make sense. Can we welcome Raw Health back, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a faithful listener. Thank you. Welcome to our season 4 finale tonight. And Raw Health said, it was revealed that a Harvard professor was paid to support Trump's theory. I'm not surprised.
Let me tell you, a host of physicians could support his theory, and no one's going to believe it.
And Dr. Toole says, speaking as a scientist and epidemiologist, scant research they used would not meet the bar. They would not meet the bar for any legitimate scientific journal. This was a conspiracy narrative. Families I talk with trusted doctors. Amen, amen, amen. Alma Gill, welcome back from wherever you've been. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We're going to keep moving because this orange man is just really just doing some things that is getting on our nerves. But hold on. Change is coming. I said that early in the show, didn't I? Change is coming. Change is coming. But following an executive order that he issued in March of 2025, the National Park Service was directed to remove content at national parks that is perceived as too negative about U.S. history. This included the order to remove the photograph known as the Scorched Back, which shows a formerly enslaved man named Peter Gordon with severe whipping scars. Now, if you remember, this is the character actor Will Smith portrayed in Emancipation the same year he assaulted Chris Rock at the Oscars. I had to say that. I'm sorry. The removal has drawn criticism, which it should, from historians and civil rights advocates who view it as an effort to erase or distort the historical narrative of slavery. I mean, to put this in total perspective, this man has ordered the removal of the Scorched Back, one of the most haunting, undeniable images of slavery, at the National Park Services. So my question is this simply censorship, or is this a deliberate attempt to whitewash America's history and erase the truth about Black suffering? I think I know the answer to that, but I want to ask you guys.
Oh, Jesus.
This is an attempt to erase everything in terms of Black history in this country. As a family, as an individual who believes that for my family and those of us down south in the Carolinas, slavery ended around 1981. This is because we're sharecroppers, and that was definitely slavery. This is an attempt not only to just erase all of Black history, it's not going to stop here. Mark my words. The next thing they're going to erase is everything regarding the 1950s and 60s civil rights movement. They're going to try to whitewash that next. We got to stop this right now.
We in danger, Molly.
Wow, it is part of a master plan, and I think for me the frustrating thing is that documents like Project 2025 were very clear about these types of things and what their plan was to do, to eradicate and erase and rewrite the narrative. It kind of leads almost into my next story. I'm not trying to rush it, but
no, I'm done. I just had to I just wanted to put it out there that this is what this clown is doing, and Oral Health pretty much closed the segment by saying I'm waiting for the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial to be demolished by this clown.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Hello.
Yeah, I mean, it's blasphemy even speaking it, but I don't put anything past an administration that is renaming buildings with Confederate names, putting these statues back up, banning books and so forth. So it does kind of lead. Okay, I'll go into my story, and I'm talking about some of the changes that, as an educator, obviously that are very, very, very important and significant to me. I'm sure with you guys as well, but particularly so as an educator. Some of the recent changes in the Department of Education and news, including things like major grant investments being revoked, a lot of money being put towards charter school, the recession of funds for programs deemed racially discriminatory, many of them being programs that support diversity, equity, justice, and belonging. There are grants being terminated because education is being deemed as divisive ideology. Let's see, I was thinking of ended discriminatory programs, as I was saying. The divisive ideologies, over $600 million in discretionary fund grants were terminated from institutions and nonprofits using taxpayer funds to train educators on divisive ideologies. A lot of work, again, supporting diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and belonging. The parental out investigations, where parents will be able to, they're supporting parents being able to opt out of any kind of program that supports teaching around issues of diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and belonging. I try to say all of those words. The Department of Education also cut $67 million from cities such as Chicago, New York, and Fairfax schools over policies such as the right for a child to use a bathroom that align with their chosen identity. It's just a lot going on. The books that are being rewritten, the narratives that, that whole notion that, for instance, slavery wasn't that bad. What I know as an educator is that so much of what we learn and what education is passed on is determined even by the textbooks that children are reading in public systems throughout the nation. So you combine those books being written with a very patriotic slant, not from a space of truth, but from a chosen narrative that we must all supposedly subscribe to. So you couple that with the erasure of true history, and you create a community or an environment where even people who choose to try to teach from a place of truth can be turned in and actually terminated. There are some really, really concerning spaces that we find ourselves heading in terms of American education. We know that it is led by a person who does not understand the difference between artificial intelligence and steak sauce. You do remember her interview where she referred to artificial intelligence, AI, as A1.
She is A1. I did. That I think I almost busted my TV because I think I threw a shoe across the room.
It is. If it weren't so scary, it would be funny.
Just ridiculous. But
it's a cabinet member between Kennedy and her that we are now saying this is the leadership that we're facing now. But I just wanted to just kind of highlight some of those things that we all need to be very, very, very concerned about coming out of the Department of Education.
Wow.
Okay. Yes. Well, speaking of leadership, we have a woman who was a leader in our government, and that is former Vice President Ms. Kamala Harris. As you all are aware, Kamala Harris released her new book titled 107 Days. It was released on September the 23rd, and the book is already a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Now, in this book, Ms. Harris, she is dropping some names. She went after California Governor Gavin Newsom. She talked about Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, her running mate Tim Walz. And you know what? In my opinion, from what I've learned and read so far, she was literally thrown under the bus. So, for example, she reached out to Gavin Newsom to ask him for an endorsement. He didn't get back to her. Okay, he just basically ignored her. Okay, when it comes to Joe Biden's people and his team, okay, they basically try to push her aside. Here is an excerpt from her book when she writes regarding the Biden team, if you will. Their thinking was zero sum. If she's shining, referring to herself, he dimmed. None of them grasped that if I did well, he did well. That giving concerns about his age, my visible success as his vice president was vital, she wrote. His team didn't get it. And they didn't get it. And of course, we've learned more about how they try to sabotage her literally the day before her first debate with, well, was it the only debate with the Orange Man. Joe Biden literally called her to complain that basically he said, I heard you were talking some bad stuff about me. He tried to throw her off her game, but she also talked about her running mate Tim Walz and why she chose him over Pete Buttigieg. And basically, she said she was a little bit disappointed in Tim Walz's performance in his debate against J.D. Vance. So it's a book that I know, Alvin, I know you said you already have the book. I'm more interested now to read the entire thing.
I plan to, believe me, I plan to read it. We have 9 weeks off between we sign off today. So I definitely plan to read it. And you know what? I'm not a spokesperson for or PR person for Vice President Harris, but I urge everybody to get the book because there are some stories in there that I know I want to hear the whole, if she talks about it, Nancy Pelosi. Because I want to hear that what was going on there. So thank you, Sean, and kudos to Vice President Harris. Please get the book. Michi said that it's fire, so it's already out there. To close out our top stories, I wanted to have a conversation with you guys because I found this to be a little interesting. Also, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, philanthropist Mackenzie Scott, recently donated $70 million to the United Negro College Fund to strengthen historically Black colleges and universities. The gift will bolster the United Negro College Fund's $1 billion capital campaign and be invested in the UNCF members pool endowment fund, providing permanent capital to support the long-term financial health of the 37 private United Negro College Fund member institutions. This funding is significant. It's a significant boost for HBCUs, helping to close the gap in resources and financial stability compared to other institutions. I think this is a wonderful thing, but I've been talking to other people, and I'm just going to say one of the things that I heard that kind of struck a chord with me, and I'm posing this to you and the viewers. Should we be comfortable with private donors stepping in to save HBCUs, or should specifically white private donors stepping in to save HBCUs, or should the fight really be about demanding long-term structural investments? They talked about, from the government, which I shot that down. But the point that I found pretty interesting was that some people had concerns that this was coming from a person who wasn't of color. And I thought, how small-minded and I was talking to some really small-minded people, so I hope they're listening, because I to even ask me a question or go in that direction with me.
Point of clarification, it was not Sean or me. So.
It was not Sean or Bobby. So I'm going to say, for time's sake, kudos to you, Mackenzie. Thank you for getting your ex-husband's money and doing something with it, okay? Some of y'all should get her book.
She has a proven track record of really supporting a lot of organizations that support people of color, and particularly HBCUs. So this isn't even the first time that she's done something of this nature. So,
and remember, the reason why colleges and universities are so expensive now is because of our former president, Ronald Reagan, and because of what he didn't like about California and what they was doing with the schools there. So he basically changed how schools have to fund themselves. And also, Harvard gets donations from billionaires.
Right. So why not? So again, I was talking to a couple of small-minded people. So since they're clowns, let's move to entertainment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. They're not listening.
Because I think they're clowns. Okay? Let's talk about entertainment. For those of you who don't know, Cardi B has released her highly anticipated second album, I Am the Drama. She released it on September the 19th, while also revealing that she's pregnant with her fourth child. The news comes 7 years after her debut album, Invasion of Privacy. The album features collaborations with major artists, including Megan Thee Stallion, Lizzo, Janet Jackson, Selena Gomez, and Tyler. Cardi B is no joke. I'm telling you all, don't be misguided by the content. She's a very smart woman. It debuted as the top-selling album on iTunes ahead of the album's release. The single Outside debuted in the top 10 of Billboard's Hot 100s in July and topped both the rhythmic and rap airplay charts in August. Some reviewers have noted that the album uses Cardi's headlines and public persona as a major theme. And speaking of her pregnancy, she announced it on CBS on September 7th, CBS Mornings on September 17th, revealing that she is expecting her fourth child with boyfriend, NFL player Stephon Diggs. She's very happy, and the baby is due right before Cardi goes on tour. The baby is due before she goes on tour of Miss Little Drama, and the tickets kick off in February 2026. I'm sorry. Cardi B is hustling out there, and I just wanted to give her some kudos right now. Kudos to you, Cardi B. I only know 2 of her songs, and one of them I can understand fully. But I'm just saying that Cardi B is a hot ticket, and she's a Black woman who's doing her thing, and I'm really happy for her in doing that.
She's doing her thing.
Yeah, she's doing that. Yes.
Speaking of Black women, I just wanted to announce that for the first time in years, Saturday Night Live is set to begin a season without a Black female in the cast. On Friday, September 12th, Ego Nwodim announced that she was leaving the NBC sketch comedy series after 7 seasons in a post on Instagram. And she joined SNL in 2018 as a featured player and was promoted to the repertory cast in 2020. During her tenure, she became known for such standout sketches such as the Miss Eggy. If you've ever seen her do Miss Eggy during the SNL Weekend Update, she is hilarious. Now, the actress was she was only the 8th Black woman, and we've got a couple of images here of some of the hilarious sisters who have been on the cast of SNL. But she was only the 8th Black woman to join the cast full time in over 50 seasons. Over 50 seasons. Now, with this change, the show's longest serving cast member, who joined in 2003, is the only Black cast member, and that is Kenan. Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name?
Kenan Thompson.
Kenan Thompson, thank you. That was his last name, Thompson. That's right. He's the only Black cast member left at this time. And of course, Wanda Sykes did not miss an opportunity to comment on it when she said, boy, Kenan's going to be in a lot of wigs this season.
Well, it's for you to share that story about the limited amount of Black women comedians that have been on that show with all the comedians that we know. Yeah. It begs the question, did the other Black female comedians even audition for the show and didn't make it? Because they're like some really incredibly funny. And I mean, even from Abbott Elementary, the young lady who the actress who is the key role in Abbott Elementary, she created it.
She's been on that. She's been a host.
She's hilarious. So it's just I don't know. That's kind of sad. Yeah,
there's a different thing in being a part of an ensemble cast.
Yeah,
there are a lot of folks who just want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of gig that I'm sure is lucrative in one sense. But if you're a part of an ensemble cast and you're not part of that top tier of comedians, first of all, you may not end up showing up in that many skits. Yeah. And because it's a weekly show where you've got to rehearse all week and be there on Saturday, it doesn't really give you flexibility to do many other things or to travel or to do it. So I can understand some of the reasons people might shy away from it if they're really trying to do their own thing. But the one thing that it definitely does do, if you get a good number of skits, is it provides exposure for you. Because what we've also seen from many comedians, and not a whole lot of them being Black, how SNL was the kind of like the leaping board for them to be able to go on. Whether you look at people like Adam Sandler or Chris Rock, Murphy. You said what?
Jimmy Fallon,
Seth Meyers, a bunch of them have gone on. Maya Rudolph. There are a bunch of them who have been a part of it, but it gives you the exposure to hopefully get something once you leave.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss her because her skits were really fun. I don't watch Saturday Night Live, but I will always go to her clips because she was hilarious.
She was funny. And I should know, because some might say, well, what about Devin Walker, who was the Black male who has been on the show for the last couple of seasons, but he too is leaving in this upcoming season. So
Al McGill said Eddie Murphy. That's the number one.
He's the one. He and Chris Rock.
He is the number one from there. Yeah.
He and Chris Rock. Tracy Morgan. I mean, there have been some over the time, but people don't stay there long. They use it as a springboard for them to be able to move forward.
Catapult.
So we will miss Ego Wono.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, there is another pregnancy to announce, and that is the pregnancy of our West Indian friend Rihanna.
Oh, she didn't get that.
The 37-year-old Grammy-winning recording artist is now with 3. She announced the birth of her 3rd baby on September the 13th, giving the little girl the name of Rocky Irish Myers. So let's congratulate Rihanna on her new baby.
Congratulations, Rihanna. Congratulations. That's all I can say. Congratulations, Rihanna. And to close out our entertainment segment, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, this is truly about nepotism as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to tell you, Jaden Smith is moving to Paris as men's creative director for Christian Louboutin. Fashion forward Jaden Smith has been hired as men's creative director for Christian Louboutin and is moving up, as I said, to Paris, according to all the reports. In a lengthy story with Louboutin and Smith confirming the news, Women's Wear Daily said, the founder of the Red Sole Bottom brand will continue to oversee his men's division, while the 27-year-old Smith will be in charge on the creative side of shoes, leather goods, and accessories, along with developing campaigns, events, and immersive experiences. Smith will present his first designs in Paris this coming January during Men's Fashion Week. He'll oversee 4 collections a year. This is one of the biggest honors of my life, he said, and I feel a lot of pressure to be able to live up to everything that Christian has done for the house and also stepping into such a serious role, said the actor and rapper who is, again, the son of Will and Jada Smith Pinkett. I have one question. How you get that job? How did you get that? At what coffee table conversation did you? I'm sure you know fashion. You wear a lot of it. But I'm curious.
No, you're not.
How did you get that job?
I mean, I don't want to say it. You know, it's.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
I'm glad again, I don't have no problem with nobody's hustle. Hustle. Get your hustle on. But I have a question. How you get that job?
I do have one concern, however, and that is
to be green.
Well, no, it's for him. And I just hope and I pray, and I'm not a prayer, as you know, in that way, but I hope and I pray that he is not being set up to fail.
Well, we'll see in January.
Amen. Time will tell.
Time will tell. And speaking of time, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of another live episode, our season 4 closure, ladies and gentlemen. I want to take this moment to say personally thank you to Bobby and Sean for putting up with me this entire year and trusting me to bring you on set and create and do what I do. And your collaboration and all of it is so appreciated and so respected. So I just want to say publicly, thank you guys so much. And though you don't see him, there's a wizard behind the buttons. His name is Norman. It's Norman. Norman is our producer. And I want to thank you all again. I'm going to say one more time for putting up with me.
You take care of us, and you are the sole driving force behind making sure that we are ready to go each week. We have our meetings. You guys know that, we meet, we have our production meetings, Alvin comes, ideas, script, all that kind of stuff. He is our fearless leader. And so, just want to say that, I'm sure I feel very confident in saying that I speak on behalf of Sean and saying we receive that, but we also thank you for what you do as well.
Amen.
Thank you. And we will be gone, ladies and gentlemen, but I haven't asked for you. Please share our story. Please go to our YouTube page and click like and follow us. Please follow us on, all of our social media feeds and tell a friend about us. And while we're gone, we're going to show some of our best previously aired episodes. And we're starting to put out clips from some of the episodes and whatnot that we have aired this season, and even some before then, because now that we have the capability to do that, we're not gonna let you know that we're gone, okay?
No, we're not gonna be
live,
right?
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do it, and we'll be back on Friday, December the 5th. I think, Friday, December the 5th, we will be back, and I guarantee you, we will have something good for you, including leading up to our anniversary show, which will be 5 years of running. So our words of the week this week, pretty much in line with what we've been talking about. Hate. It has caused a lot of problems in the world, but has not solved one yet. And these were the words of Maya Angelou.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. No more to be said. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Bobby, Norman, and Sean, for doing what you do.
And to all of our guests who made season 4 such an incredible guest. We want to thank everybody who participated and contributed to He Said, He Said. And of course, obviously, that's all of you who tune in each and every week.
And if you all in DC, I'm available for dinner for 9 weeks.
I was going to say, think about this.
I can see y'all somewhere. Okay, let's kind of get together. Y'all know how to reach me. Okay, y'all know how to do it. But thank you all for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you when we do return in December on the newest episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
It'll be sweater weather.
Good night, everybody. Good night. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great holiday.
Thank you.